Hello, good afternoon, everyone. How are you today? I hope that you are always in a very good condition. Today, I would like to continue my sharing on Melchizedek order or Melchizedek priesthood. By the way, I want to remind you that Melchizedek is a new order, is a new generation after the great deluge or great flood that has happened in the time of Noah, his father. So Shem or Melchizedek started a new generation, a generation that God has appointed to bring or to continue to pass on the mantle that God has entrusted to Adam in the beginning in the Garden of Eden. Because Adam was the first priest that has been chosen by God, the first royal priesthood that God has chosen from the beginning. But because of the fallen, then God should start with a new generation. And that generation started with Noah, but it is Shem or Melchizedek who continue to carry the mantle. Well, last session of this recording, I talked about the meeting between Melchizedek and Abram. And today I would like to continue the slide or the video presentation. And this is the slide that I'm preparing to you right now. I hope that this can be helpful, although I still got a problem to show it in the full screen. I hope that you can see it only in this version. Well, here we have the priesthood mantle passed from Shem to Abram. And I want you to remember the story from Genesis chapter 14, where God at the time has met this divine meeting or divine appointment between Abraham and Melchizedek. So they both of them made a covenant and they met eternal, agreement together. So on the side, when we are making covenant, both sides should bring something to create, to make the agreement done legally and formally. So on the side of Abraham brought the tithes, the 10% of all that he has got from the war against five kings. And on the side of Melchizedek or Shem, he brought the elements of covenant, which were the bread and wine. And at the time the crossing over happened, the covenant was made. Abraham received the mantle. Abraham received the blessing from the God of Melchizedek, which is El Elyon, the God of Most High. And for Melchizedek, he was king of Salem. He got the 10% from what Abraham has got in the war. Well, today I would like to stress again some points here that on Jewish Encyclopedia, it quoted that the rabbinical literature said that Noah gave to Shem the priestly garments which he had inherited from Adam. And as we know, as I have told you before in the story, Shem or Melchizedek passed it through the covenant of bread and wine and tithes between Abraham and Melchizedek, and the covenant was met legally, or in the terms of law it is called like equal covenant making. And then next I want you to also look at the three significance in Genesis chapter 14. The first thing that we read from Genesis chapter 14 is about one king. His name is Kedalomer. He went to the war uh, with three kings, and he defeated five kings. So this is a war between four kings. The first ally against the second alliance, and the enemy consists of five kings. And Abraham won the battle against Kedalaomer. So the first scene or the first narration that we got from Genesis 14 was that one king, which is Kedalomer, with three kings, he defeated five kings. But Abram won the battle against Kedalomer, who has defeated five kings. And then Abram met Melchizedek. So that was the chronology or events that happened in Genesis 14. It described well in that uh, chapter. By the way, I would like to revise that on previous minutes or on previous slides. I talked to you that Abraham won defeating 5 kings. I would like to revise it. I mean, Abraham won the battle against Kedorlaomer, who has defeated 5 kings. So now there is a spiritual interpretation for events, historical events that has been mentioned in the Bible. As we know that Kedorlaomer represents soul. All right, so in soul of mankind, it has 3 aspects, which are will, emotion, and thoughts. So one king represents the soul realm with 3 kings. 3 kings uh, are the symbols of our will, emotion, and thoughts. And when this soul is activated and allied as one and come into singularity, come into unity, and come into settlement, they could defeat the 5 kings. 5 kings represents the sensual world or 5 senses. And the second thing that we would like to see the meaning, the spiritual meaning of the historical event was that Abram represents spirit or ruach or Christ in us. It is true that soul needs to govern the body and all of the 5 senses, but it is the spirit that will rule over the soulless realm, the will, emotion, and thoughts. We need to surrender it all to Abraham, or or something that represents spirit, ruach, or Christ in us. And the third is that Melchizedek, who represents Father God. So Father God blesses spirit man, Abraham, with 7 rewards in the book of Revelation, with 7 blessings. We know it all, right? Like fruit of tree of life, hidden manna, crowns, etc. So these, slides, the last slide that I show you just now, the 3 significance of the story in Genesis 14 actually speaks about our inner journey. It is not only true in his story event, but it also speaks about what happens in our inner world, not only in outer world, but also what has happened within us. Not only something that has happened 1,000 years ago without meaning, but yet it has a very strong and abundant as an abundant resource for us to find something deeper than only something that is written there. So again and again, this story is speaking about our soul with 3 elements of it, which are will, thoughts, and emotion. When we can come in unity, when we can bring them all in one alignment, and when we can come together, then the soul power will defeat, will master, and will conquer the 5 senses that sometimes people call as carnal minds or carnal life, all of the lust, all of the desire from the sensual world that is driven by the soul. And the soul represents Kedorlaomer, or is represented by Kedorlaomer. And again, Kedorlaomer was defeated. The Kedorlaomer surrendered to Abram. Abram speaks about something higher, a higher realm, and Abram represents the spirit or ruach or Christ in us. So now we have a new government. It is the government of Christ in us. Christ in us is the one that can settle down all our will, emotion, and even our thoughts and totality of our souls. And we put it all into surrender. And when it happens, as we know in the story, Abram met Melchizedek, and Melchizedek represents God, Father God. Abram was blessed by Melchizedek. It means when we have come into the realization, when Christ is our identity, when Christ is our experience, when Christ is our full consciousness, it means that is the moment of showering of blessing of Father God to us. And it is not natural possession. It is about spiritual and heavenly realm on earth. We have this communion with the El Elyon, the Most High God, Father God in heaven, which is our source. And when we have known this, we have come into the capacity of knowing that God is the source of everything. And peace, joy, and love will come over us and make us peaceful and settle down. I hope that this series of teaching about Melchizedek order could bless all of us who is listening to this recording. See you again on next session or next topic. God bless you.